I'm 5 years older than Jack. So when he was 28, I was already 33. He once told me that age would never be a problem between us. But later, he told his best friend. I don't know why, but once Helen turned 30, she just felt kind of dirty. Then he found a mistress, someone who looked a bit like me. He gave me love, and gave her sex. He thought it was the perfect balance, until I handed him the divorce papers. I smiled and told him, there's a big advantage to dating and marrying an older woman. We know how to play the game, and we know how to lose with grace. Chapter 01. Sometimes, a woman's intuition is razor sharp. Jack was in the shower when a call came through on his phone. It was a local number, no caller ID. I answered it. I said hello twice, and asked, "Who's this?" Silence on the other end, then a hang-up. Those few seconds of silence felt like a kind of unspoken understanding. The caller knew who I was, and I realized something wasn't right. So I unlocked Jack's phone. I used the number to find the person on his social media. It was a girl. Her profile pic was a cutesy anime avatar. Username Little Peach. No contact note. And notifications set to do not disturb. Their chat was squeaky clean. Only one unread message. I miss you. Just those few words. And my heart clenched hard. I thought Jack was most likely cheating. My hand holding the phone suddenly felt weak and shaky. I tapped into her social media feed. The cover photo was probably her, hair in a bun, pouting lips, full of youthful energy. She really was pretty. I didn't look too closely. I just took a photo with my own phone. She had posted a lot. I skimmed through quickly and stopped on one post. She wrote, "I only accept $199 in transfers, not a cent more." Below that was a screenshot, a chat between her and Jack. Jack was saved in her contacts as Princess Caretaker. She asked him, "Where's the $199 you promised me?" Jack transferred $20,000. She didn't accept it and sent it back. "I only want $199. Jack replied with a string of ellipses, but still sent her exactly that amount. She wrote, "Do you know what 199 means? It means I want to be with you forever, one lifetime. All the way to 99 years old. Always together." Expressionless. I took another photo for the record. After exiting her feed, I opened Jack's transaction history. I reviewed every transfer between them, one after another, scrolling endlessly. The most consistent were monthly transfers of $50,000 at the beginning of each month. It had gone on for 3 months. Aside from that, there were countless others: 10,000, 20,000, 1,000, 2,000, 100, 200, including some symbolic amounts: 199, 520, 1314. They're all numbers that express love. I photographed each and every one. I was calm throughout. I even remembered to mark their chat as unread before I exited. Chapter 02. What's wrong? You zoned out. Jack came out of the bathroom, towel drying his hair, and looked at me with a puzzled expression. I snapped out of it. I looked up at Jack. He was wearing only a towel around his waist, broad shoulders, narrow waist, and a chiseled 8-pack. Jack had always kept himself in great shape. Some people even envied me for it. Just look at that body, unless he's out there murdering people. What can't be forgiven? Besides, he's so loyal to you. I used to believe Jack was loyal to me, but now, I see, it was only my belief. Oh, by the way, someone called you just now. Didn't say a word and hung up. Do you want to check it? Probably just a spam call. Don't worry about it. Jack answered naturally, taking the phone from me. He tossed the towel into the laundry basket and picked up a pack of cigarettes from the table. "I'm going out to the balcony for a smoke." Jack always smoked on the balcony because I didn't like the smell. Turns out, he wasn't really going out just to smoke. Just a few minutes later, Jack came back in. He was changing clothes as he spoke to me. "Babe, I have to head out. Something urgent came up. Don't wait for me tonight." What happened? Something's wrong with David's machine. I don't know if he's just cursed or what, but everything was working fine in testing. Then when it got to him, the screen started glitching and crashing. I need to go check it out. If it gets too late, I'll just crash there. Is Luis going with you? Yeah. How convincing. He had details. A reason. Even a named witness. I nodded. Be safe. Chapter 03. Jack left in a hurry. I sat staring at our wedding photo on the wall for a long time. I just couldn't understand. Why? Why would Jack cheat? And that girl, who was she? Her face, the money between them, her social media posts, all of it flashed through my mind. Then suddenly, something clicked. I scrambled for my phone. That girl, I'd seen her before. Chapter 04. It was about half a year ago. Jack got into a fight and ended up at the police station. I went to bail him out. He wasn't badly hurt, just a bruise on his cheekbone. But mentally, he wasn't in a good state. His eyes were fierce, full of rage. Honestly, I hadn't seen that version of Jack in years, not since his teenage days. He had beaten the guy black and blue. It was clear he hadn't held back. The other man was yelling for an apology and compensation. Jack just scoffed coldly. If I hadn't been holding him back, he would have gone in for another round. Once everything was settled, I took him out of the station. Just then, a girl in a work uniform ran up to us. She thanked Jack profusely. "Sir, I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't stepped in today. Really, thank you so much." I paused and looked at Jack. His face was full of impatience. "You should seriously consider getting a different job," he muttered. The girl looked embarrassed and forced a bitter smile. "If I had any other choice, I wouldn't be doing this." Jack grew even more irritated and cut her off roughly. "Not my problem. Do whatever you want." Elise had gone with me that day. When Jack brushed past the girl and strode away, Elise pulled me back and whispered, "Don't you think that girl looks kind of like you? Maybe 30 or 40%? I laughed it off, thinking she was reading too much into it. But still, I turned back and gave the girl a second glance. The memory and the photo I had just seen lined up in perfect clarity. It was her. Chapter 05. Jack didn't come home all night. He returned the next evening. He brought me a spicy hot pot. "Your favorite place." I waited in line forever. "Eat it while it's hot. I'm gonna take a shower." "Okay." Jack went to the bathroom. I grabbed the spare car key, picked up the takeout box, and headed straight to the underground garage. The car had been washed, spotless. The passenger seat was adjusted to my usual position. Everything looked normal, but that wasn't what I cared about. I went straight for the dash cam footage. I checked every recording from yesterday through today. Jack had driven to a university on the south side of the city. He made a call. One word, "Come down." The girl came bouncing into the passenger seat. Then, kissing sounds. Heavy breathing. "Did you touch that old woman?" "Shut up. Did you or didn't you?" Jack's voice was low and thick with lust. "What do you think?" The girl giggled. Triumphant. "He's all mine. Don't beg for mercy later." The speed of the car showed just how eager he was. They stopped at an apartment complex near the school. The next recording was from the next morning, 10 a.m. Only Jack appeared. The video played quietly. I sat frozen in the car, every muscle clenched and aching. I reached out to turn off the screen, then a ringtone rang out. It was Luis, Jack's childhood friend. "Where are you? Why haven't you shown up yet?" "On my way." "Damn, this late? That's not like you. You didn't go see your little peach again, did you?" Jack let out a vague grunt. Luis sounded exasperated. "Come on, man, that's way too often. Are you serious about this?" Jack chuckled. "What does serious even mean? What's not serious?" "Don't play dumb. I thought you were just messing around. Since when did this turn into something long-term? I thought you were crazy in love with Helen, so why cheat all of a sudden?" That question seemed to stump Jack. After a long pause, he said, "Helen's 33, and? I don't know why. After she turned 30, she just started to feel kinda dirty to me." Chapter 06. How long had it been since Jack touched me? I sat there, smoking, trying to remember. It must have started about 6 months ago. That was when work got really hectic for me. I was chasing a promotion, working late, running on fumes. Every time I got home, all I wanted was sleep. Jack would hold me, try to kiss me. I'd push him away. "Not now. I'm too tired. Next time, okay?" The first time, Jack didn't mind. He even looked worried for me. The second time, he wasn't happy, but he kept it in. The third time, He got mad, stormed out, slamming the door. I found him at a bar later that night. I knew something had to change, so I wrapped my arms around his neck and let him kiss me roughly. It wasn't a good experience. In fact, it hurt. Jack noticed too. He ended it quickly. That night, he slept with his back to me, for the first time. He didn't turn around and hold me. I felt helpless. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't know how to comfort him, but he comforted himself before I even had a chance. He told me it was his fault, that he was too eager. Don't overthink it. Once you're less busy, we'll go on a trip. I thought it was settled. He still treated me well, even if he no longer held me in bed, even if we hadn't had sex in 6 months. He still treated me well, but now he says I'm dirty. That one word, ever since I heard it, sends a chill down my spine every time I think of it. My hand trembled with the cigarette. Ash fell onto my skin, burning hot, but not as painful as that one word. Chapter 07. Jack called me, asking where I was and why I hadn't come back yet. I told him I was just downstairs taking out the trash, and I'd be back up in a minute. He gave a short okay. I'm going to sleep then. By the time I went back upstairs, Jack was already fast asleep, lying on his left side, close to the edge of the bed, leaving me most of the space. I didn't lie down. I just sat on the edge of the bed and watched his back the whole night. The year I met him, he was 18, just admitted into a university in the city, a rebellious teenager. He had secretly changed the college application his parents had filled out. The moment he got his acceptance letter, he ran away without even packing properly, just a backpack on his shoulders. His older brother was worried and asked me for help, told me to pick him up at the train station. He's broke, and the dorms aren't open yet. Let him stay at your place for a while. He's a stubborn brat. If he says or does anything that pisses you off, just beat him up. I thought Romeo had lost his mind. Even if Jack was just a kid, there's no way I'd let him live with me. I was already planning to rent him a separate place. But he looked so pitiful and he was so obedient. When I found him at the station, he was squatting under a big tree, hugging his backpack like an abandoned puppy. He followed me home quietly. Before I could even tell him he needed to stay elsewhere, he was already tugging at my sleeve, putting on a pitiful face. Helen sis, I promise I'll be good. I'll cook and clean. Please don't kick me out. I couldn't help but laugh. I thought he was just spouting nonsense. But he really did cook for me every day. Even rode a little e-scooter to pick me up from work. Because of him, my cold, empty rental apartment suddenly felt like a home. My daily commutes didn't seem so rushed anymore. We lived under the same roof for a month. Later, I bought him proper luggage and took him to school myself. At first, I thought it would just be a short arrangement. But then he told me he had chosen that university because of me. He said he saw me once when he was 16. And ever since, all his dreams had been about me. This man, when he was still a boy, came to me with nothing but pure devotion. And I fell. But now, he's taking it all back. So I have to claw my way out of this pit too. Chapter 08. I want a divorce. What? Jack cheated. What? I thought he was on a business trip. I let out a soft laugh. He's on a business trip with his mistress. Early in the morning. Just 3 sentences, and Elise was stunned speechless. Wait, hold on. Let me get this straight. You're saying Jack cheated, and that so-called business trip was with her? How do you know? I tossed her my phone. On screen was a WeChat moment Olivia had just posted that morning. Jack holding a suitcase with one hand and holding hers with the other. She had written, joyfully, off to elope. Honestly, I added her on WeChat just to try my luck. I didn't expect her to actually accept. Whether she knew who I was didn't matter. I turned to Elise and said, Jack will be gone for 3 days. When he comes back, can I have the divorce papers ready? Elisa's face darkened. I'll draft them myself. I nodded and reminded her. Don't tell Luis. Elise is Luis's wife. They supposedly went through a lot to be together, and I only met her because of Jack. But somehow, we became real friends. Fate is strange that way. Some people stay strangers after decades, while others become close in a day. I know. Don't worry. Actually, what is it? Elise hesitated for a moment, then shook her head. Nothing. I'll tell you another time. Are you okay? Do you want me to stay with you? I shook my head, giving a tired, bitter smile. I've got a 10 a.m. flight. I'm going on a business trip too. That's adulthood. Even your heartbreak has to be scheduled. I handed Elise all the photos I had taken from Jack's phone and the dashcam backups. Also, a full list of our joint assets. The only silver lining, we never had kids. Elise works fast. The afternoon I got back from my trip, the divorce papers were ready. Even though he's at fault, there's no way to force a clean break with zero assets. But I'll do my best to get you everything you deserve. I opened my mouth to speak, but Elise cut me off. Don't say you don't want anything. He is the one who screwed up. He should pay. Even the money he gave the side chick, we can go after that. If you mess up, there should be consequences. I gave a small smile and hugged her. I won't say no. Thank you, Elise. She gently patted my back. It's not a big deal, just a divorce. I'll go through it with you. That night, Elise drank with me, glass after glass. We talked about the past, the future, hopes, regrets, until we both passed out drunk, falling asleep on the carpet. The next morning, I was woken by my alarm. I took the day off, put on light makeup. Even if I didn't feel okay, I still had to go out. I had to go see Jack. Chapter 09. Thanks to Olivia's obsession with sharing, I had first-hand updates of her and Jack's entire 3-day trip. They rode roller coasters, soaked in hot springs, went bungee jumping, all things I never did with Jack. He liked thrills, that rush of adrenaline, but I couldn't handle that kind of stuff. He once begged me to go bungee jumping with him, the tandem kind. He said it was romantic. He even wanted to shoot our wedding photos like that. But when I stood on the bungee platform, I just couldn't take that step. Jack said it was okay, but I knew he was disappointed. Looking back now, there were so many things that didn't match between me and Jack. When we were blinded by love, we both said, "Love conquers all." Now I see, someone was lying. Jack came out wearing sunglasses, face calm and detached. Next to him, Olivia held his arm, chattering away nonstop. She was light on her feet, beaming with joy, sweet, playful, irresistible. Let's go again next time, okay? On your birthday. It'll be our first one together since we became a couple. Jack. I raised my hand and called out loudly. Olivia didn't seem to hear me, still talking, but Jack stopped in his tracks. He shoved Olivia aside and turned toward me in a panic. For a second, I thought I must look like some kind of monster to him. Olivia was clearly startled. She stood there timidly, wanting to reach for Jack but too afraid to move. Honestly, she looked pretty pitiful. Jack quickly regained his composure. He turned to Olivia and said, "Go, now." Olivia looked up at him in disbelief, lips trembling, eyes glistening with tears. She didn't want to leave, so I stepped in, playing the considerate one. "Come on, let's all go. It's hard to get a ride from here." Jack's brows furrowed tightly. He spoke to Olivia in a harsh, serious tone. "Are you still not leaving?" Olivia flinched and took a few steps back. I dropped my smile. I said, "Come with us." Olivia was something else. Most people would have run for the hills in a situation like that. But she actually followed us. I walked ahead. Jack trailed behind me. She trailed behind Jack. Jack opened the front passenger door, intending to sit there. I stopped him. "There's stuff up there. Why not let the young lady have the seat instead?" Jack looked at me, expressionless, his eyes full of barely contained emotion. He gave a sarcastic snort, slammed the door shut, and got into the back seat. The air in the car was suffocating. I was the one who broke the silence. "Miss Olivia, Jack and I have some things to discuss. Would you like to ride with us, or should I drop you off at school first?" Being suddenly singled out, Olivia panicked. Jack snapped. "What exactly do you want from all this?" I looked at him through the rearview mirror. His expression was full of frustration, anger simmering just beneath the surface, and I felt a wave of satisfaction, so my smile widened. Slowly, "What's your major, Miss Olivia?" "German." I raised an eyebrow. "Same as me? I have a friend teaching at your school." I gave a name and asked, Do you know her? Olivia's face changed. Her voice turned weak. She's my homeroom advisor. I laughed aloud. Well, what a small world. I dropped Olivia off at her school in the end. When she got out, she practically ran, didn't even look back. I asked Jack, "Where's the place you rented around here? Should we go up and talk?" Jack stared at me, clenching his teeth. He growled, "What the hell do you want?" I dropped the smile from my face. This entire ride has been disgusting. Let's talk about the divorce. Chapter 10. In the end, we didn't go up to that rented apartment. We stayed in the car. Jack lit a cigarette. He stayed silent. From the moment I mentioned divorce until now, he hadn't said a word. I stayed silent too. After all that deliberate disgust I threw at him, it was starting to feel pointless. Because in trying to make him sick, I was also making myself sick. I reached into my bag, pulled out a cigarette, and lit it. "How long?" Jack asked, voice raspy. "What? You've been smoking. How long has it been?" I'm 5 years older than Jack. When he was still in college, I was already working. Back then, I had just started my job, under intense pressure. That's when I picked up smoking. It was Jack who made me quit. He said, "It's bad for your health." He said, "I'll buy you candy instead." He said, "If you need to vent, hit me. Just don't smoke." Eventually, I really did quit, and I stayed clean for 7, maybe 8 years. But this time, because of everything, I started again. If you want the exact moment, I thought about it and said, "The day after you didn't come home from Olivia's." Jack's hand trembled. The cigarette slipped and fell onto the leather seat, instantly burning a hole. He frantically tried to brush it off, but it was too late. Still, he stubbornly kept trying to smooth it out over and over, pressing harder and harder. Finally, his emotions snapped. He kicked the car door, shouting, "Fuck." Then he said, "There's no way I can fix this, and you're never going to forgive me, are you?" "No." He let out a bitter laugh and reached out his hand. The divorce papers. He didn't even read them, flipped to the last page and signed his name. "I'm not going back to the apartment. I'll come get my things when I have time." Then he got out of the car without hesitation, leaning on the door. I heard him say into his phone, "Come out. Don't sleep on campus tonight." "Yeah, I'm waiting outside." After hanging up, he looked back at me and raised an eyebrow. "When you're ready to go to the registry, just call me." Chapter 11. Don't you feel like you just punched into cotton? All that effort, but nothing to hit? It's infuriating. He did it on purpose. I tugged at the corner of my mouth and downed my drink in one go. I know, maybe at first, I didn't quite grasp it, but by now, I'd figured it out. Jack had always been an arrogant man. His approach to people and problems was simple. Even if I'm wrong, so what? What can you do about it? I knew that about him. I had even imagined how he might react. But still, when I came face to face with that cold indifference, it stung more than I thought it would. My hand holding the glass trembled a little. I thought I'd at least get an apology. We always hope for some sincere regret from the person who hurt us, as if that's the only way the wound might be soothed. Otherwise, it just feels so unfair. From the time he was 18 to 28, 10 years. That was my 10 years. 2. I went from being uninvolved to being completely pulled in, and it was he who brought me into this. When he loved me, he gave me sweetness. When he stopped loving me, he sliced me up without mercy. He should have said sorry. The wave after wave of negative emotion pushed me to the edge. I took 2 days off work, stayed home, went nowhere. I cried, I cursed, I broke down, and then, finally, I calmed down, because of a call from my boss. He said the contract figures had changed and asked me to make updates quickly. I opened my laptop and started working. 2 hours later, I sent over the revised version. He said, "The CEO of WU Group is coming next Wednesday. Come with me." All right. Once I finished, I sat back on the sofa and suddenly felt lost. Was I really that heartbroken? Jack was my choice. No one forced me. No one threatened me. So everything that happened after, I should be prepared to bear the outcome. If I had the courage to bet, I should have the courage to lose. So, Helen, are you saying you can't afford to lose? No, I can afford to lose. Chapter 12. On the fourth day after Jack signed the divorce papers, I called him. He picked up slowly. His tone was flat. What is it? I gave a simple yeah. Are you free tomorrow? Let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau. There was a few seconds of silence on the other end. I'm out on a business trip. We'll talk when I get back. How many days? Not sure, Jack. I said, voice firmer. I need a date. You have to give me one. I just said I don't know. Jack snapped, his tone rising, threaded with impatience. I already signed the divorce papers. What? You think I'm gonna run away? 2 days. What? I'm giving you 2 days. I said, if you show up at the bureau the day after tomorrow, I'll leave you with some dignity. If not, I'll tell everyone, your family, your friends, that you cheated. The moment the words left my mouth, the line went dead. I could practically see Jack's rage. I could imagine him throwing his phone across the room. I didn't care whether he was actually busy or just making excuses. I only cared about one thing, getting this done. But what I didn't expect was for Jack to show up at my door that very evening. You came here? I need to ask you something. What is it? Jack looked at me, then let out a cold, mocking laugh. What? I'm not even allowed to step inside anymore? The sarcasm made me frown. What do you want, Jack? His face darkened. Helen, this is too far. No matter what happened, this is between us. You shouldn't go after a young girl like that. What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Jack said with a sneer in his eyes. Are you seriously going to deny that Olivia's scholarship got cancelled because of you? Olivia? Who? A deep voice suddenly cut in. Jack flinched. Bro? Romeo stepped out from behind me, face blank, expression unreadable. Who's Olivia? Jack glanced between me and him. What are you doing here? I should be asking you, who is Olivia? She's none of your business. You want to tell me yourself, or should I dig it up myself? Jack pressed his lips into a tight line, refusing to speak. I rubbed my temple, already feeling a headache. All right, enough. Go inside, I'll talk to him. Romeo looked like he wanted to say something more, but I cut him off. This is between me and Jack. Don't get involved. After a tense moment, Romeo finally retreated back into the apartment. I exhaled a heavy breath and looked straight at Jack. I don't know anything about Olivia's scholarship, but Jack, if you used your brain for even 1 second, you'd know better than to come accusing me. If I really wanted to mess with her, those photos of you two sneaking around, the proof of you paying for her lifestyle, I could have gotten her expelled. I just want the divorce. I don't want drama. But you, cheating? Sugar baby? Divorce? A voice echoed from behind. You cheated? You two are getting divorced? Chapter 13. I stared at Romeo, speechless. Can you not eavesdrop? Romeo ignored me. His eyes were fixed on Jack, dark and intense. Then, a sharp shout. Speak. This is between me and her. None of your business. Jack replied. Oh, none of my business? The moment those words left his mouth, Romeo threw a punch straight into Jack's face. You fucking bastard. Jack was never the type to take a hit without hitting back. Even when he was clearly in the wrong, he'd always return the blow. I watched them wrestle and fight with zero expression, then calmly shut the door. I didn't know when they stopped or when they left. The next morning, I arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau right at 8 a.m., took a number, and waited for Jack. About 10 minutes later, he showed up. He sat silently next to me, face bruised, shoulders slumped. Not long after, our number was called. I stood up, but Jack suddenly grabbed my wrist. His voice was hoarse. That day, I lied. I didn't go to see her. It's already over between us. She called to say her scholarship got cancelled, and I knew it wasn't you. I was just weirdly happy because I finally had a reason to come see you. I never planned to divorce you, Helen. I never once thought about leaving you. His voice trailed off, thick with emotion, breaking slightly at the end. Jack was crying. I've never been able to handle Jack crying. The first time I agreed to be with him was because he looked at me with tear-filled eyes. But right now, Jack, watching you cry honestly makes me sick. His grip on my wrist tightened sharply. He paused, as if stunned, then asked with confusion, "What did you just say?" I pulled my hand away, ripped up the form in my hand, and took a new number. You know, from the moment this started, we've never really sat down and talked it through. You never even asked how I found out about the affair. You never asked what I knew. So let's lay it out. For the past 6 months, our sex life fell apart. You were always distant. You met Olivia during one of your drunk nights out. Maybe it was because she looked a little like me, 30–40%. Maybe it was because she was younger, full of energy. You couldn't resist, so you cheated. And cheating is wrong, but instead of owning it, you needed someone to blame, so you looked at me. You said once I turned 30, I started to feel dirty to you. You pointed out the fine lines on my face, the way my body wasn't as firm anymore. You said I was like a wilted flower, and even from a distance, you could smell decay. Jack, when you said those cruel, disgusting things to describe me, do you know how utterly repulsive you became in my eyes? I started questioning myself, wondering just how blind I had to be to step in a pile of dog shit. And worse, how that dog shit had the nerve to complain that my shoes smelled. I tore apart the last shred of dignity between us without mercy. The divorce went smoothly. No disputes. No arguments. The clerk reminded us to come back in a month to collect the papers. I nodded. Jack had already gotten up to leave. I called out to him, "When will you come get your things?" He didn't even turn around. Just throw them away. But throwing them away was never going to happen. In the end, Romeo packed up all of his stuff and took it. After packing, he personally cooked a meal and opened a bottle of wine. "Drink with me?" I didn't refuse. Romeo drank a bit too quickly. After downing a glass, he pulled at the corner of his mouth and said, "Back then, I really didn't know Jack had that kind of feelings for you." If I had known, I shook my head with a wry smile. So what if he had known? Would he have stopped this doomed relationship from the very beginning? That kind of regret is meaningless. Both our families were against us being together at the time. I still remember Jack once said, "I don't know if I'll regret being with her in the future. I only know that if I don't choose to be with her now, I'll definitely regret it." You got together with him because of that? I shook my head. No, it's just. I felt the same way back then. I leaned my chin on my hand, swirling the wine in my glass. Looking back, I was much braver in my 20s than I am now. Back then, I dared to imagine a future with a guy 5 years younger than me. Now, I don't even know if I'd have the courage to start again. Helen, Romeo looked at me with a complicated gaze, part guilt, part pain, and something else I couldn't quite decipher. I gave him a gentle, understanding smile. "Don't worry about me. I just suddenly figured it out. Love, when it comes, crashes in like a storm. But when it leaves, it strips everything bare. What others give you is never permanent. But it's okay. People die from illness, from poverty, but I've never heard of anyone dying from a lack of love." Maybe I was a little drunk too. And with Romeo, an old friend sitting across from me, I ended up rambling on. Romeo listened in silence. Not another word from him. The next morning, when I woke up, Romeo was already gone. He left me a note, said he had a flight to catch, so he didn't wait for me, said he'd met a pretty decent girl, and after going back, he was planning to be with her. He wrote, "Helen, take care." Chapter 14. My scattered mind from the divorce quickly gathered itself again. The demands of work left me no time for self-pity. That, in itself, was a great comfort to my emotions. I hadn't thought about Jack in a long time, until Luis gave me a call. "Helen, I know I shouldn't be calling you, but Jack has been hospitalized twice in the past 2 weeks from alcohol poisoning. We can't stop him right now. Only you can talk sense into him." Helen, Jack, he knows he messed up. Luis probably didn't really expect I'd come. So when he saw me show up at the hospital, he looked completely stunned. He immediately stood up and gave me his seat. "You two talk. I'll step out for a smoke." I gave him a disapproving look. "You still haven't quit? Isn't Elise pregnant?" Luis froze. his expression awkward. He raised his hand slightly and walked out without another word. When I turned back, I saw Jack staring blankly at me. The moment our eyes met, he quickly looked away. Jack. I had barely started speaking when he cut me off. Almost desperately, he said, "My arm hurts, the left one. Every time it rains, the pain gets worse." That year, we didn't see each other for half a year. I told you I was grounded by my dad, but the truth is I was in the hospital. He broke my arm. I never told you. I didn't want you to worry. Then why are you telling me now? Jack looked up at me, cautiously, almost pleadingly. I gave a faint, bitter smile. You know, this really isn't the time for that kind of story. If you'd told me back then, I would have felt sorry for you. I would have thought you were making sacrifices for me, and it would have moved me. But now, Jack, that was your decision. You made that sacrifice to be with the one you loved. Whatever came with it, good or bad, you should bear it on your own. Just like me, I chose someone who cheated on me. Good or bad, I have to carry it too. The hope in Jack's eyes slowly faded into darkness. He turned his face away. If you won't even give me the slightest chance, then why did you come? I looked down at him. I came to tell you, don't drink yourself to death, and don't delay our registration appointment in 2 weeks. Jack, I want to be divorced, not widowed. Jack growled. Do you hate me that much? I didn't even turn back. Put yourself in my shoes. Wouldn't you want to kill me? Chapter 15. I walked away without hesitation. Louise was clearly frustrated. I brought her here for you. Can't you just swallow your pride and talk properly? Jack's face was cold. Stay out of it. From now on, even if I die, don't ever call her again. Louise sighed. The future? What future? If you really wanted to make things right, why are you being so stubborn? I've never understood this, how you always keep your cool and everything else. But in front of Helen, you act like a child who never grew up. Jack turned his head to look out the window and said nothing more. He didn't know either. He wanted to talk properly. He really did want to lower himself. But the moment he faced Helen, all he could feel was this overwhelming sense of grievance. He knew he was the one at fault. And yet somehow, he still felt wronged, as if Helen was supposed to love him unconditionally, without ever asking for anything in return. Jack was panicking. From the moment he saw Helen at the airport, he'd been in a state of chaos. Part of him desperately wanted to do something, anything, but the other part of him was already numb, knowing that nothing he did could change the outcome. Helen would never forgive him. Cheating with Olivia, that was his mistake. And like all cowards, once he made the mistake, he tried to cover it up. So when Louise confronted him with the truth, he lashed out in shame and anger. He said cruel, biting things in the heat of the moment, and he regretted them immediately. He kept warning Louise not to repeat a word of what he'd said. If he did, they could forget about being friends. He was even scared to face Helen. Ashamed, deeply ashamed. Jack knew this broken relationship deserved to be thrown away. But still, he was terrified. Olivia had come looking for him more than once, crying. She claimed Helen was bullying her. I got a court summons. It says I have to return the money you gave me. That money was from you. What right does she have to take it back? Jack, are you really going to let her treat me like this? Jack actually found it funny. Helen had always been like this, vindictive and never one to forget a grudge. If Olivia hadn't falsely accused her, Helen probably wouldn't have even bothered asking for that money back. Just like she'd said, if she really wanted to ruin Olivia, she could have gotten her expelled. Olivia still wanted to be with Jack. She thought that since he was getting divorced, it was only natural that she'd officially take Helen's place. But what she didn't know was, Jack could be with anyone but her. She was a reminder of his lowest, most disgusting self, a walking stain on his past. And no one keeps a stain around. That money? Olivia had already spent it. She couldn't return a cent. So Jack covered the loss himself. Then he told Olivia never to come looking for him again, or else he'd come collecting too. Olivia stormed out in anger. Before she left, she slapped him across the face and called him a hypocrite. Jack took it. The slap, the insult, all of it. After he was discharged, Jack threw himself into work completely. It was the only thing that could numb him. Until the day of execution came, He didn't delay it, didn't back out, quietly followed Helen to register the divorce. Helen seemed in great shape, still confident, still radiant. Jack watched her walk away. Then suddenly, she turned back. "Jack, say sorry to me." Jack's hand in his pocket trembled. He opened his mouth, but the words wouldn't come. Helen looked a little disappointed, then turned and walked off. Jack suddenly stepped forward. "Helen." "I'm sorry." Helen paused mid-step. She raised her hand and waved without turning around, striding off with purpose. This time, her back seemed even lighter. Story 2. On Valentine's Day, my husband divorced me, just to marry his first love. He said, "Elena, Lily has cancer and doesn't have much time left. Her biggest wish is to marry me, and I won't let her leave with regrets. Once she's gone, I'll make it up to you." But he didn't know, I was already terminally ill. On the day he divorced me, my condition suddenly worsened, and I died on the operating table. Before I died, I called him, but in the background, I heard the wedding march playing. Then, I heard my husband's impatient voice, "Elena, can you stop being so jealous? Lily is sick, and so are you. Why do you always have to copy her? I'm not coming back. No matter what. If you want to die, just go ahead." But Lily kept saying she didn't have long to live. Yet several years had passed, and she still looked healthy. Meanwhile, I was the one truly at death's door. I sent him one last message, wishing you a long life together and many children. Chapter 1. After more than 3 hours of resuscitation, I still left this world. I felt my soul being torn from my body, hovering in the air, looking down at my own corpse and the sorrowful medical staff. It was only then that I truly felt the reality of death. 5 hours ago, I was still alive. I was full of anticipation, wondering how Lucas and I would spend Valentine's Day. I had prepared the gift he wanted most and even put on a dress I had always been reluctant to wear. With my makeup perfectly done, I was ready for this romantic occasion. But Lucas told me, "Lily's cancer is in the final stage. I can't just leave her. Her biggest wish is to marry me, and I can't let her die with regrets." I stared at him in shock. "But you're already married. That's why we need to divorce. Once Lily passes, we'll remarry." "Elena, be kind. You can't refuse a dying person's last wish. Can you?" Afraid I might object, Lucas added, "Don't worry. I'll treat you well in the future and make it up to you." "No, this is outrageous." "I won't agree. He only cared about Lily's condition, never mine. Whenever Lily had any issues, he would drop everything to be by her side. He never noticed that my body was also deteriorating. Whenever I caught a cold or coughed, Lucas would mock me. "You look ridiculous. Can you stop pretending? You're really disgusting." Even faking being sick, even though he treated me cruelly, I still hoped he would change his mind. After all, he was the one who almost lost his life to save mine. In that car accident, he protected me with his body, whispering in my ear, "As long as you're alive, nothing else matters." Those soft words gave me an immense sense of comfort. But then Lily came back. She was his first love. When Lucas found out she had cancer, he became a completely different person, staying by her side without ever leaving. There was no room for me in his life anymore, but I kept waiting for her. I hoped to spend the last days of my life with him. Instead, all I got was his request for a divorce. Lucas, with a hint of blame in his voice, said, "Elena, stop making a fuss. She's dying, and you're still nitpicking? This divorce will happen, whether you agree or not." My heart went completely cold. The man I loved for so many years, when I was about to die, chose to divorce me just to marry another woman. The man who once promised to take care of me for life, to love me forever, was the first to let go. He ran into another woman's arms. Fine, I agreed to the divorce. Chapter 2. As I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, I saw Lily waiting at the entrance. The moment she saw Lucas, she gleefully threw herself into his arms, then gave me a provocative look. "Elena, you won't blame me for taking your husband, will you? But I'm dying, so I won't have Lucas for long. Once I'm gone, You two can still be a loving couple. And I'll be. As she spoke, Lily suddenly burst into tears. Lucas hurriedly wiped away her tears, casting a guilty glance in my direction. She won't. Elena is a kind woman. She won't blame you. Lily's round, rosy face was full of happiness. Then let's go. Let's get married. She looked at me intentionally and added, Sister Elena, you'll attend our wedding, right? We've been preparing for a long time, just for today. So, their wedding had already been planned in advance. Even before our marriage ended, he was busy preparing for his wedding with another woman. When it was time to divorce, he didn't even give me a heads up, leaving me no room to negotiate. At that moment, I felt an overwhelming sense of irony. This was the man I had loved for 10 years. Even his divorce announcement was so self-righteous. My heart felt stifled, a mix of anger and pain, and the world around me began to blur. Before I collapsed, the last thing I saw was Lily walking away with Lucas, her arm hooked through his. Panicked bystanders rushed me to the hospital. The doctors worked for more than an hour to pull me back from death's door. Your condition is very serious. You need surgery as soon as possible. We need to notify your family to sign the consent forms. Could you provide their contact information? Weakly, I replied, I don't have any family. I'll sign it myself. After signing the papers, the doctors began preparing for my surgery. I picked up my phone and called Lucas. The call rang for a long time before he finally answered. And the background music was deafening. It was the wedding march. Just the thought of them getting married now made my heart ache painfully. Lucas, I'm dying. Could you come see me one last time, please? I had no family left. Lucas was the only one I had in this world. But today, that was no longer true. Who would have thought that Valentine's Day would be the day of our divorce? And possibly the day I'd die? Lucas sneered coldly, his voice impatient. Today is Lily's and my wedding. You're just saying that to trick me into coming back, aren't you? Elena, can you stop being so jealous? Lily is sick. You're sick too. Why do you always have to copy her? Chapter 3. Lily would never cause a scene like you. Can't you just be more obedient? Be kinder? I pleaded. But Lucas, I'm seriously ill. I might really be dying. You'll say anything just to make me come back. Won't you? Anyway, I'm not coming back. If you want to die, then just die. As soon as he finished speaking, I heard Lily's voice in the background. Lucas, the wedding is about to start. What are you doing? It seemed she had noticed it was my call, and Lily suddenly sounded pitiful. Is it Elena calling? She didn't come to our wedding. Is she angry? Lucas, I know I've wronged Elena, but this is my only dying wish. The moment Lily sounded upset, Lucas's voice turned harsh again. Elena, you better come to our wedding, or just die. With that, he hung up the phone. I let out a bitter laugh, wondering what I had even been hoping for. Suddenly, I recalled that Lily had been in good health all these years, even putting on a bit of weight. It had been several years since she claimed to be in the final stages of terminal illness. She didn't look terminal at all, but I, on the other hand, had grown thinner by the day. My once round face had turned gaunt. Lucas hadn't noticed at all. The only time he remarked on my appearance was when he saw how much weight I had lost. And even then, he half-heartedly commented, You shouldn't overdo the dieting. It's bad for your health. I don't mind if you gain weight. He never noticed the empty pill bottles, my thinning hair, or how my face had become more and more haggard. All his care and attention were for Lily, and his eyes were only for her. A tear of despair fell from my eye as I sent him my final message, wishing you a long and happy life together, with many children. I closed my eyes as the machine started beeping. I heard the hurried footsteps of the medical staff and the sounds of their resuscitation efforts. But this time, it seemed I would never wake up again. Chapter 4. It seemed like a long time had passed. Lucas, exhausted from the wedding, finally sent me a reply. Elena, Lily is still young. She's never been married before. I only did this to help her fulfill her wish. You can't let her leave with regrets. I know what we did was wrong, but you should be more understanding. Do you realize how much trouble you caused Lily by not coming today? Many guests were whispering behind her back. calling her a homewrecker who ruined our marriage. She cried until her eyes were red. Lily has had a tough time. You should also try to be considerate of her. How about this? Post something on your social media to clarify the situation for Lily. And I won't hold it against you for not attending the wedding. It had been a long time since Lucas sent me such a long message. But this time, it was all to ask me to clear Lily's name. But this time, I couldn't clear anything for him anymore. He waited a long time, but no response came. Lucas started to get frustrated. He called several times, but that phone was a call I could no longer answer. Lily sat beside him in her silk pajamas, looking pitifully at him. Is Elena still angry at me? So many people were secretly cursing me today, and I'm really heartbroken. I understand if Elena won't help me. In her eyes, I'm just the bad woman who stole you. It's fine. For your sake, I can endure the insults from others. Lucas pulled Lily into his arms, comforting her. Elena isn't the kind of person who doesn't know what's right. I'll go talk to her. Don't cry. It's bad for your health. In his arms, Lily no longer looked pitiful at all, but Elena looked at me like she wanted to eat me alive. She must hate me. Otherwise, why wouldn't she come to our wedding? Lucas spoke seriously. Don't worry. I'll make sure she clears your name. I won't let you suffer. He once said those words to me too. He said, Elena, I'll never let you suffer. I'll hold you in my heart for the rest of my life. But the suffering and the storms I endured all came from Lucas. Even my illness, which had a high chance of being cured. It was Lucas who took the money meant to save my life to fulfill Lily's wish. It was him who let my illness fester, making it worse and worse. Chapter 5. Suddenly, Lucas took a deep breath, a strange sense of unease creeping over him. He felt a wave of panic. He stood up. I'm going back for a bit. Don't worry. I'll be back soon, Lily anxiously said. But today is our wedding day. Lily, I won't let you suffer. I'm going to find Elena right now and make sure she clears your name. With that, Lucas left, barely giving Lily time to protest. Lucas returned to what used to be our home. He opened the door and called out my name a few times, but there was no response. Before, whenever he came home, the moment he called my name, I would show up immediately. But now, no one would answer him anymore. He searched around, still calling my name, but found no sign of me. Normally quick-tempered, he became irritated in an instant. Elena, if you don't show yourself now, don't ever show up again for the rest of your life. As you wish. I will never appear before you again in this life. Just as Lucas was about to leave, his phone rang. It was my phone calling. His voice couldn't hide his excitement. Elena, where are you? Hurry up and clear things up for Lily. Hello. This is the hospital. Are you Elena's husband? Elena passed away after unsuccessful resuscitation. Please come to claim her body. Chapter 6. Lucas was silent for a few seconds, then let out a few laughs. His eyes filled with uncontrollable anger. Elena told you to trick me, didn't she? Hasn't she had enough of this? This is exactly what's so annoying about her, pretending to be sick when she's perfectly fine. If she wants to die so badly, then let her. But she'd better clear Lily's name first. Otherwise, there's no chance of getting back together. Sir, I don't understand what you're talking about. But this is real. We haven't been able to reach any other of Elena's family members. If you're her husband, please come as soon as possible to claim the body. Hearing this, Lucas became even more furious. Enough! This is all Elena's doing. She made up this lie just to avoid clearing Lily's name. And she's not even afraid it'll come true. I'm so disappointed in her. If she's so eager to die, then let her just go ahead and die. Lucas angrily hung up the phone, completely ignoring the hospital's call. He angrily glanced around the living room. Elena, I've never been more disappointed in you. I told you I only love you. Why can't you believe me? Once Lily is gone, we can finally live peacefully. Why can't you just trust me? You've let me down so much. Listening to his accusations, it seemed like everything was my fault. I was the unreasonable one, the one causing all the problems, and that's why he had become so disappointed in me. But it's over now. I'm gone, and I don't care anymore. After all, he's no longer my husband. Several days passed, and my body remained unclaimed. The hospital tried to contact people from my phone, but with my parents already deceased and no close relatives, my contacts were only acquaintances. No one was willing to come and claim my body. Meanwhile, Lucas was still on his honeymoon with Lily. He said he wanted to give her an unforgettable honeymoon, so she wouldn't leave with regrets. That excuse, Lucas has been using it for nearly 5 years. Every year, every month, every day, has been about fulfilling Lily's wishes. He never seemed to consider how much time had really passed since Lily said she didn't have long to live. Lucas treated every single day as if it were Lily's last. If he weren't my husband, I would probably envy and bless this loving couple. Chapter 7. When the hospital contacted the last person in my phone book, I stayed silent. It was an old friend of mine, but Lucas had never liked her. He would often say, "That friend of yours is obviously no good. She's a total player. The type that messes around with people's feelings. I can't stand people who aren't loyal in relationships. You'd better keep your distance from her. I don't want her corrupting you. Monica isn't like that. She's a good person. Yes, her dating history is a bit extensive, but she's never cheated, never played anyone. She's always taken every relationship seriously." I defended Monica, but it only annoyed Lucas. "Elena, I'm saying this for your own good. Don't let her ruin you. What kind of decent woman dates so many men? Even if she hasn't cheated, she's still not clean. I think the most beautiful love is the kind that lasts from start to finish, not one relationship after another. Love is small. It can only hold 2 people." How righteous he sounded back then, and how disgusting his true face is now. To avoid putting me in a difficult position, Monica gradually distanced herself from me. We hadn't spoken in years. She didn't even attend my wedding, but she sent a large gift and told me to be happy. In the blink of an eye, so many years have passed. Monica probably won't come to help me with my body, right? But when the call went through, Monica was silent for a few seconds, then immediately agreed. Someone was finally coming to claim my body. When Monica left the hospital, she looked gloomy. Her eyes were red, but she stubbornly didn't say a word. Seeing her like this broke my heart. If only I hadn't married Lucas, maybe Monica and I would still be friends. Even if I had been diagnosed with this illness, I would have been in a healthy state to fight it. There was a good chance I could have recovered. The money I'd saved for my treatment wouldn't have been taken by Lucas to fulfill Lily's dreams. Thinking about it now, it's truly ironic. Monica took my body to be cremated. And once cremated, it was just a small urn. Look at how thin you were. Even your ashes are lighter than others. As Monica spoke, her voice suddenly choked up. "Elena, just how much did you suffer?" Chapter 8. Over all these years, Monica was the first person to care about how much I had suffered. Lucas would always say I didn't need to suffer but insisted on seeking it out. But I had endured all those countless days and nights on my own. Through the flare-ups of my illness, the times he abandoned me, and the moment he betrayed me, in Lucas's eyes, I was always living a life of comfort. I bore the heartbreak and the pain of illness day after day, night after night, but none of it made me cry. Yet, this time, I felt a lump in my throat. Could I still cry in this state? Monica found some old photos of me and printed them as black and white memorial portraits. She also found my diary. As she read the little details of my life, she cried uncontrollably. "Elena, I won't let you die so miserably. Those who hurt you, I'll make them pay." I actually wanted to tell her, "There's no need. I don't want her to do anything for me. I only hope she lives well, live well, for both of us." Chapter 9. On the first day Lucas and Lily returned from their honeymoon, Monica went to the airport, holding my memorial portrait. To confront them, her phone was live streaming the whole thing, practically shoving it in their faces. "Everyone, come and take a look at this pair of homewreckers, cheating while married, stealing life-saving money from the original wife to go on a trip. They got married on the day their wife died. You two treated Elena so terribly. Karma will get you." There were many people at the airport, and they all stopped to watch the scene unfold. Lucas's expression darkened. "Monica, why are you here? Did Elena put you up to this? Where is she?" Monica let out a cold laugh. Elena? You'll see her when you're dead. Lily, leaning weakly against Lucas, said softly. Lucas. She's being so harsh. Do you think Elena sent her? Lucas frowned, his gaze toward Monica filled with irritation. Enough. Monica, I've tolerated you long enough. No wonder Elena became like this. It's all you're doing. Bring Elena out here and let her explain this to everyone. Monica gritted her teeth. Explain? Explain how you cheated? How did you and this woman drive her to her death? Lucas, you have no conscience. Wasn't Elena good enough to you? If you didn't love her, you should have just divorced her. Why did you have to kill her? Stop talking nonsense. Bring Elena out. Lucas continued to shout, unaware that I could never come out again. Can you deny that you took Elena's 500,000 yuan to fund Lily's trip? That was our money as a married couple. I had the right to use it. Besides, I told Elena about it. You didn't ask her, you told her. By the time Elena found out, her money was gone. That money was meant for her surgery. If she had made it to that surgery, her condition wouldn't have worsened. Do you understand? Her illness wasn't severe at first. You slowly killed her, making her lose hope in life. Monica became more and more agitated, nearly ready to strike him. Lucas frowned even more. How long are you going to keep this act up? It's just 500,000 yuan. I'll give it back to her, okay? Great. So you admit it. You stole Elena's life-saving money. Lucas, losing his patience, shouted. Shut up. If you want the money, let Elena come out and ask for it herself. Stop this ridiculous show. You're making a fool of yourself. The only fool here is you. Elena was still alive, and you were already planning a wedding with this mistress. You forced her to divorce on Valentine's Day, claiming you and Lily were just friends. Just friends? Friends who get married. You both betrayed Elena. You're the ones who killed her. Lily started crying too. It's all my fault. I was too greedy. I just wanted to fulfill my last wish before I died, so I wouldn't leave with regrets. Lucas and I truly love each other. We never wanted to destroy anyone's marriage. The truth is, Lucas never really let go of me. He only married Elena out of responsibility. I'm almost dying, so I just wanted to bravely pursue love one last time. The real mistress is the one who's unloved. And that's not me. She cried hysterically, and Lucas's heart broke for her. The argument between Lucas and Monica intensified. Eventually, security had to intervene, and they were all taken to the police station. Chapter 10. When they arrived at the police station, Lucas was still trying to shift the blame, claiming it was my idea to have Monica cause trouble. He even demanded that the police arrest Monica and charge her with disturbing public order. After learning the full story, one of the officers looked at Lucas seriously. Are you sure Elena gave the order? Lucas nodded. It must have been Elena. She's had some misunderstandings about us and has been upset. But this is going too far. She's not only disturbing others but also ruining our reputation. The police officer looked at him in disbelief, even rolling his eyes slightly. One of the female officers almost rolled her eyes all the way back. Sir, your ex-wife, Elena, passed away a month ago. Her body has already been cremated and buried. It took Lucas a while to process this. No, you're all lying. There's no way Elena is dead. Her registration has been cancelled. She's truly gone. At this point, Monica spoke up. I was the one who claimed her body. The hospital contacted people from her phone, but no one was willing to take care of her remains. Eventually, they reached me, and I arranged her funeral. That's when I learned just how much she had suffered. She could have survived, but this man took away her will to live. At this, Monica's already swollen eyes filled with tears again. Only then did Lucas realize I was truly gone. That last phone call wasn't a prank. It was my final call before I died. He collapsed onto the ground, lost in despair, then suddenly seemed to remember something and ran out frantically. He rushed back to what used to be our home and found a pile of medications. They were the ones I had to take every day. When Lucas saw them, he broke down in tears. He had seen me take them before but had said, "Stop taking those diet pills." Yes, he never cared. Lucas then went to see my former doctor. The doctor sighed. A surgery could have given her a good chance of recovery, but she later gave up. I heard it was because of money issues. After that, her condition worsened, likely due to living in a long-term oppressive environment. Lucas slapped himself hard, over and over again, until his face was swollen. He wandered back home in a daze, collapsed onto the bed we once shared, and cried uncontrollably. Monica came to collect my belongings and completely ignored Lucas. Lucas couldn't hold back any longer and asked her, "Where is Elena buried? I want to see her. You two are no longer married. Besides, I won't let you defile her grave. She was unlucky enough to meet you while she was alive. In death, I want her to have peace." That was the last thing Monica ever said to Lucas. Then, she left with my belongings. The next day, Lucas and Lily were hit with a wave of online backlash. The incident at the airport had already caused a scene, and since Monica had live-streamed it, the details of their affair quickly spread. It was even exposed that Lily had never been sick at all, and was as strong as an ox. She had only lied to get Lucas back. When Lucas found out the truth, he snapped. He grabbed a knife and went after Lily, stabbing her more than 20 times. Lily fell into a pool of blood, and Lucas was taken away by the police. Murder demands justice.